Hi everybody, Scott Nell here with the Scott Nell team. I'm here with my friend Don Lanson. Don is with Ventura Blvd. It's actually Ventura Blvd, Eccles, Miller, and Lanson. And he is an attorney.
We say four guys in Lanson, but that's a different firm.
Okay, thank you for that. He's an attorney that specializes in real estate and business. Topic for today is, what is Prop 13? So you're the star of the show. I'm just going to sit here and listen intently.
Prop 13, everybody has heard of it, but the issue is it's a measure back from 1975. It limits property taxes to 1% of the property's value, essentially. Before that, actually, property taxes were up to 3%, and it was ridiculous. It was really exponentially increasing over time. But to limit that, they passed the measure. It can only be raised 2% per year, every year beyond that, so it's a way of giving some people security that their property taxes aren't going to go sky high if the value of the real estate increases over time.
So you say when it would increase 2% per year, it's not 2%. I mean, in value that you could do that you could get the 1% on.
It's 1% of your property value, and then the actual increase per year for 2% is of your property tax amount.
Okay,
right.
Very good. That's the topic. That's it?
No, sorry. So there's ways to avoid having property taxes go up by avoiding reassessment, and that's usually when you have a change of ownership. Now, a lot of people realize that you have a change of ownership if you sell. Like, obviously, your team does a lot of those sales. But also, what people don't realize is you can have a change of ownership when you do various things, like, for instance, transfer an ownership interest in an entity. If you transfer more than 51% of ownership of an entity that owns property, that actually is a change of ownership that subjects the property to reassessment. And people don't realize that the county assessor can go back 8 years and actually reassess your property and actually penalize you if you actually haven't submitted the necessary forms.
How often does that happen?
Only if you do dumb things like try to ask for an appeal of your property assessment, in which case obviously the assessor gets notice of the fact that you're not happy and wants to make an issue out of it. So it's not common, but you can do various things to trigger that by actually subjecting yourself to it through submission of documents to the assessor. There's ways to avoid having that assessment in terms of exclusions. Most popular usually is from a parent to a child, and that's a big one. Unfortunately, a lot of times people don't realize that they need to transfer directly to the child. So you can't transfer to an entity that you then give the kid an interest in. It has to be directly to the child. And the other fun one actually is from a grandparent to a grandchild. The weird one here is that for the grandparents to do that, the parents of the child have to both be deceased. If they aren't, the actual exclusion doesn't apply, and the property will be reassessed by virtue of that transfer. Now, obviously, you and I, we know our fields. The main key, though, is make sure you talk to your tax professional anytime you're going to do one of these things to make sure you can qualify for it.
So tell us now about avoiding being reassessed.
So one of the big keys, obviously, is the assessor is looking to reassess your property and increase your taxes anytime there is a change of ownership. And obviously, it's easy to say a change of ownership takes place when you buy and sell, like your office does a lot of, but a lot of things happen where there's a change of ownership people don't realize. And one of the ones I see the most is when there's, say, an entity, a company, corporation, LLC, whatever, that owns the property. If you change more than 51% ownership of that entity, that's a change of ownership for some reason. They consider it a change of ownership, which actually subjects the property to being reassessed at that time. So you could have had a property in the family for decades, and all of a sudden you transfer more than 51% of the entity to, say, a child or say whatever. That's reassessment time. And all of a sudden you're paying a lot more in taxes than you realized.
And how specifically, are there other ways to avoid being reassessed?
There are other ways and exclusions, if that's which you're going through the exclusion concept?
No, not yet.
Okay. There are other ways to avoid it in terms of if you're going to document things in terms of obviously estate planning. There's many, many ways that people can avoid having reassessment done by virtue of doing really good estate planning and making sure they've provided for their property as part of that process, as opposed to various other ways not doing one at all or doing a transfer on death deed or various other things that actually create other issues.
Okay, excellent. Great information. Thank you so much, Don. Hey everyone, if you'd like more information about myself or my amazing team, check out scottnellteam.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.